welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em. It's week 9, and I'm your girl, the Gransberry. I got my boy D Jones on the left. What up,
What's
D
poppin'?
Jones?
Chilling. How you?
I'm good. I'm good. And I got my boy, Coach B Pat, on the right. What's up, Coach?
What's up, Chili, Houston, Texas?
Oh, chilly.
Chilling.
Oh, okay, okay.
We all
Oh,
we are all hoodied
y'all
out,
all
right?
in the hoodies.
We all in our
All
hoodie.
hoodied out. We get in the
We hoodie.
sixties down here, and we get
We get
we
excited.
we waiting to pull these hoodies out.
Look, look. There are a few people that will be ecstatic about my next comment. I can't say I'm 100% there because I didn't really go outside today, but it's still not quite Ugg season yet. So if you have your Uggs, defrost them, but don't pop them out just yet.
Not
But
yet.
The
if you
frost.
defrost them a little bit, you can just defrost them a little bit. So I'm looking forward to talking tonight about week 9. It seems to be quite a few lopsided matchups on paper, but come Sunday, you just never know, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
this is still the NFL. We still know that everything may or may not play out the way you hope for, but we always can find a good time. Want to get started early. Week 8, we definitely saw some highlights. If you were, as my guys are dressed, a Texans fan, and some low lights, and some hurtful things we saw across the league. The Vikings taking another hit at the quarterback position. Just not what everybody was looking forward to. We was uh, the rematch that your girl told you would not be a field goal game. uh,
Mhm.
but needless to say, we all agreed that the Eagles would win. That definitely played out. Shout out to Cam Scatterboo starting his recovery. Wish him the best, much success. More came out about the injury today. Oh, it was quite a
It's
bit. It was
crazy.
more than just the ankle. We've definitely seen our share of tragic injuries. So uh, I'm just, praying for the best with him overall. And just, it's hard when you're a rookie and that happens because you're really trying to get everything under the go. But I say we get started with our team for the week because there were some weak spots this weekend, and I think Coach B Pat, you had your take on your highlight for team for the week, and so I say, Coach, I need you to give it to us. What you got to say?
My team for the week is one of the Houston Texans' favorite trading partners, Cleveland Browns. They can decide what quarterback they want. It's not even just the quarterback. Then the head coach doesn't know how to answer what he wants and what kind of type of game plan he wants. And then on top of that, you have your boy gives out his heart with a historic day, and then you come up with 13 points. Um, Team for the week, Cleveland Browns.
They made you weak, huh?
Yes,
I
they
think they've
made
been
it
making
week.
us weak all year though.
Yes,
I
they
get
just
so. Oh no.
they added more. They keep digging themselves deeper and
Yeah.
deeper.
Yeah. You know?
What'd you say, D Jones? No.
I was no, I didn't say no. I just like this is where we going tonight. Okay.
No, 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 no. I'm not. My mic is not hot for the lyrics tonight.
I thought
I
the
gotta
mic
I gotta play it safe,
I thought the
you
mic was
know.
staying hot. I was about to say, well, make us weak then.
Um, but I will keep on the theme of things for teams of the week in the sense that I'm concerned about what is going on in Minnesota,
Yeah.
especially when this is a team who scored in the top 3 for the most part in every category from the player side. of the team as far as facilities, coaches, food, all the things that make your work environment enjoyable. They seem to score very high. And there's this concern that should Wentz have even played week 8? And this goes back to something that's always there, right? If you are a dog, you're gonna always want to play. You have to be told not to play. And back in the day, we've seen people play with injury that became permanent. And are you injured or are you hurt? And so with that, I don't know where you draw the line. I think it's more so for me that it appears there just was no backup plan anyway. And now at this point, who's going under center? Will we see another trade this week? The deadline's coming up next week. Obviously, whatever's going to happen on Sunday is going to be with whomever is already in the building. But how do we push through? I guess is JJ really ready, or is this a forced JJ's back a little early and it just happened to be perfect timing?
I think they was expecting him to be back already because even when they played
Mhm.
overseas, he was running the scout team, so he was practicing. So I think they probably expected him to be back this week, but they stretched it another week. But I think this is one of those things where it's like you said, it's something smells fishy about what went down, that they push him. And this is when I feel like the staff and the medical staff and the coaches got to get involved and help the player out. Not necessarily help the player out. That's not a good phrase, but it's not one of those injuries where you can't prove it, right? I could say my back hurt and you can't see if my back is hurting, right? I could say my hammy is kind of tight, and you can probably get away with that. His shoulder and the things that they saying, that he needed surgery, season-ending surgery, those type of things is gonna show up, especially with how his mechanics and stuff are. And even if we go back and look at what happened with, the Giants and those guys being fined last week for getting involved doing the concussion protocol for that quarterback. It's we got to rely on the doctors. These teams got to rely on their doctors to make those calls, and they got to stand on it. What you got, Coach? I saw you.
Yeah,
Let's
I saw
let's
you.
not forget about that linebacker that the Minnesota had. It was
True.
today that we said that we saw in the
Van
text.
Winkle, I believe.
Well, yes,
Mhm.
yeah, he came back, neck injury, played 9 plays, and then he's hurt again, and it's
I
a
think his started
whole
with a concussion, came back, and then he was out with a
the
neck injury,
neck.
right?
Yeah,
So
it
it's like,
was
did they bring him back too soon? So that's back to what you was bringing up, Gransberry,
protecting the player.
with with something going on over there. They might be feeling that heat, They might be feeling that pressure.
Well, because obviously people want to do the hindsight conversation. They said you had all these quarterbacks that are performing well in your building, meaning Sam and Daniel, and now you're in a situation where you needed a backup. But this still goes back to my favorite thing that I always talk about, the
Mm.
backup quarterback. And do you put yourself in a position to win with your backup quarterback? What are you really putting? What effort are you really putting into that role? And so, for them not to stray too far away from our topic, it's also still financial, right? They wouldn't have been able to keep both of them even if they wanted to, because there was already enough opportunity outside of the room that they couldn't control. But at the same time, if you're still in a position to do something, then at least pitch it, right? I think maybe Sam was out of reach, but hey,
I think I think they
Daniel
both
got what he
were.
got.
I think they both were out of
Right,
reach.
right, because they
Yeah,
both really want to be starters. And if
Starters.
you and
starters.
if you were just going to bridge them again, then what's the point?
Yeah.
So they could definitely take heed somewhere else. But I really want to add one more team for the week that I think about overall as we had this discussion. It's really like the teams in general, meaning it's not all 32 this week, obviously, but there needs to be some evaluation of how we using this injury report, because we got the Giants, the Vikings, we
The
have
Ravens.
the Ravens, and so we're seeing a trend. And I don't know if the viewers remember deep. I'm going deep here, when the Colts were being very strange about their injury report around Luck, and then all of a sudden Luck is like, I'm out of here. you know so
Yeah.
there has been this thing where there's still a shady line of injured and hurt, and I think a lot of it at the end of the day comes down to fear of losing out on opportunity and money. They said, like, some people will rush back from an injury if it looks like that backup is about to take that spot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
I think we saw that this year with Purdy. I think Purdy came back
Absolutely.
way too soon, threw 4 interceptions, and then was back on that bench. So yeah, I that's some weight in that, T. That's some weight in that.
yeah, so that would give me my teams for the week, but also teams for thought. Like, what would you envision to be another way to handle it? Because, like I said, it's twofold. Are you injured? Are you hurt? If you get the medical staff more involved and they say, well, if it's a soft tissue thing and it's only something the player can tell us, then we put the player back out there. Are we at fault for that as a whole? And so that just my thing. But I rather move on to some more positive energy and time. And I want to talk about my teams of the week. Well, once again, let's get back to that Eagles and Giants matchup, right? And I want to be. I thought back about how I called it a rematch, and obviously we know division teams play once at home and once on the road against each other. But overall, it still is a rematch within the season, because you're still going to think back to the most recent time you played. And I said, the run game was going to be important. I did not anticipate the run game looking as great as it did with a new player in the mix, you know. But I definitely want to give a shout out to the Eagles run game. If I'm not mistaken, Coach, it's your job to keep me on my toes. Well, no, you are injury guy. So D Jones, it's your job to keep me on my toes. But if I'm not mistaken, it was over 200 yards of rushing, a little shy of 300. By the time Saquon got off the field, he already had 100 yards, over 100 yards in rushing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, yes, but I think he jogged off, so I think he might be okay. I think it was just one of those things. Hey, they hadn't been running that way. They got to running. And his body said, oh, now you want to use me? But anyway, again, Eagles run game was on fire. Jalen had another great week. Saw some spread around offense from them overall. But then down in H-Town, we had, I would call, another version of big fun. We had some big fun in H-Town. Texans defense came up mighty strong. And I know everybody was more focused on the offense, especially after G Jones gave them the spotlight teams for the week last week and said he needed more offense. I guess they watch your piece. You said the rookies was gonna have to stand up. You said the offense had to give you more. And I'm trying to figure out, what point did they not hear that didn't execute in that? So even though you don't see them on my board, the reason why is because they did what needed to be done. But this Texas defense in week 9 showed that they're consistent. And that's something that gets how you get talked about. Right now, we can talk about week to week about the offense, but the Texans defense is that. It is that. And that pick, the interception that to seal the game in the fourth quarter by 4 was one that, really just, when you say you need something, I need you to go out there and give me something. That was it. I mean, you had the pass rush. We had if you get a chance, to me, it should have been more of a viral moment when Anderson has a joint sack and they do like the My Brothers thing. They get
Like
a
Hunter,
good hug, and it's just
him and Hunter.
him and Hunter just had like this
Yeah,
magical moment that only comes from just being a good unit, and you just loved it, like
yeah,
right
that
in
was the
that moment.
definition of meet me at the quarterback, right? Because they got there at the
Yeah,
same time.
the same
So,
time.
and keeping with that, you know, Coach, I know you gave us your spotlight on the Browns tonight and how you felt about them overall as a team, but I hate that there was an overshadow to Myles Garrett's sack. I mean, 5 sacks against any team is phenomenal. There's always this notion that because a team is not playing well, you should. And if that was true, everybody's stat line would look the same against that team. And so I follow that because, of course, the Browns were playing the Jets, and there was this anticipation that obviously we thought the Browns would be able to pull it out. Uh,
Patriots. They had the
I mean, I'm
Patriots.
sorry, the Patriots. Miles played the Patriots. I'm sorry, but I don't know what he could have done. Like, they were playing a good team. I feel like there was some notion that I don't know. I don't know what they thought the offense was going to do. Just don't know.
I mean, you got guys on the D lines that don't even get 5 sacks in a season. You get 5 sacks in a game, and he let it all out. I mean, and then of course we saw the clips after the game. He's yelling on the bench and sitting on the bench by himself and things like that. But he did sign the contract and knew what he was going to get in himself into. But then again, he thought Flacco was going to be the quarterback. So
I
Uh,
don't know if he thought that
yeah,
because
I think that's a
Flacco
different
wasn't there.
conversation for a
That's a
different
different
day.
conversation.
Because
Uh,
yeah, that contract ain't had nothing to do with who was the quarterback.
it
Because
didn't.
okay,
if you
okay.
remember, what preceded that
He
contract
said I'm out,
was
and
a letter
then he was
saying,
like,
"Please,
"Yeah,
trade me." But anyway,
yeah,
I don't want to mess up his shine. So
yep."
yeah,
Yes. So we're
yeah,
gonna leave that at the sacks.
Leave
And I
at
think
it. Yeah.
and I think I was, and the reason why I brought up the Jets is I was steady fast already to my next spot on my bingo card
yeah,
and crossed it. But we definitely know it was not against the Jets because the Jets beat the Bengals.
yeah.
And I'm happy for that win. And I think, people will probably wonder why are we concerned about a one win team being teams of the week? Because you know what? It goes back to part of what Justin said in his post game press conference, and it's just believing and trying to keep your faith to find something to work. We never only in sports do you experience a setup where you're constantly ridiculed while also constantly being judged, while also trying to find deep down in you to be the best. If you at work you could get reprimanded for something, but it usually takes a while, right? You could have a hard-nosed boss, but you could do your job, right? But in the sense of being a quarterback, people only think you're doing your job if the team wins.
Hmm.
Right.
See, a wide receiver could keep having a good game every week and the team could lose, but nobody's going to talk about the wide receiver. They're going to go back and talk about the quarterback, no matter what, right? The plays could be 80% run plays, right?
Yeah,
But you still gonna blame the
The
quarterback.
quarterback.
So at the end of the day, this was a team win. This was a win for Coach Glenn. This was a win for Justin. This was a win just to survive in this league. what I do, you know, having ownership come out against you, that's something we normally
That's
only
tough.
see. It's tough. And we only see it really with Dallas because of Jerry holding two roles, right? Being an owner and still in the GM seat, essentially making those
But
comments.
I'll give Jerry grace in the sense that Jerry don't come straight out and like call people out.
No,
You
no,
know,
no. But I'm saying critique overall. When he say, "Oh, we gonna still be here," or "It's not a big
yeah,
deal," he's going to attack it, right? He's never ran from the conversation about any player, whether it's contract wise or anything, or
yeah,
coach,
yeah.
right?
But what I'm saying is the Jets owner, specifically talked about the quarterback. He didn't say his name, but when you say when you got a quarterback like this, what you expect. But it's like, dude, that's the guy that's suiting up for you Sunday, and
And
that's still on your team. If you want to say that in his goodbye or his post in a press conference after he leave, that's one thing. But yeah, that was tasteless. But yeah, that's why I say Jerry gonna talk about the team, and he gonna stand 10 toes down that there's a problem. But he doesn't typically single people out. Even with the Parsons thing, we ain't like how he did some of the contract stuff. But he never downplayed Parsons. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, um, but yeah, that was just weird.
Yeah, shout out to Oville, but you'll want to go back a few weeks. Basically, the owner of the Jets, he confirmed he stands behind Glenn as his head coach, but while doing that, he mentioned the quarterback play as being part of the reason the team is not successful at this moment, while also trying to say he still supports his head coach, basically saying I can't blame my head coach for my quarterback's play, which that didn't have to be said out loud because no coach is going to get blamed for a quarterback's play anyway.
Mhm,
You might not like a play call, but they play no. So, and we're gonna round out our teams for the week. It was National Tight End, and I call it the National Tight End Day Bowl because really we had some good tight end play on Monday and Sunday, so they can't help what day they played on. Kelsey moved himself into the rankings again with the most tight end touchdowns. And so he's up there with the greats, of course. And I just felt like it goes back to a few weeks ago when D Jones, you talked about, are you listening to the outside noise? Remember you talked about that with the Eagles?
mhm.
I feel like all of our teams collectively were thinking about National Tight End Sunday because it seems to be some nice tight end plays from everybody.
It's like they was intentionally
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
we running
it
these
was,
plays, but I can see how it could come across like that for sure. But
yeah,
I'll,
I
I'll speak
mean,
I'll speak on the behalf of the Green Bay Packers. They've been going to craft. I think he's like a safety blanket for Love, and he just
yeah.
plays that way. But yeah, but it did seem that way. It's
it
like
did,
every
it did,
every
and I
game
mean,
the tight ends was finding the end zone, right?
and
Even
Even
then the backups.
even Kittle found it.
But check it. The second touchdown against Houston, that if you look at that route, Kittle was on the backside, and that was the backup tight end was the one that scored the touchdown. So
Yep.
you didn't even have two receivers on that side. You had two tight ends on that side. So it
That's
was
what
like,
I said. The backup tight ends even got it in.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
here for it. I'm here for it. So just had to throw that out there. But yeah, so hey, that wraps up week 8. I know I put week 9, but it's because that's when we do the show. So that's just kind of how it's got to be for the moment. I'll figure out. I can't figure out which way I want to go with the numbers. Do I want to say it the week I'm on, or do I want to call it the week it was? But it is what it is. My name on the show. I could do it how I want.
You know
Hey,
what to say.
what
Your
Derek
name
say?
on the show.
Derek say.
What the name say? You
Um,
say it the way you want to say it.
but we're gonna get started with this week's games. Look, it's it's a lot of crazy matchups. I said that at the beginning of the show. It's a lot of crazy matchups for week 9. And I say crazy because people could instantly think of one way to pick, but you just don't know. You don't know who's gonna lay an egg, who's gonna come out a little flat.
This past week, I went back and watched the Jets and Bengals game, and that was one we was like, But when I saw the score, I was like, oh, I gotta watch the condensed version of that game. So you never know. Best
You
reality show.
know, and we're not really sure who's starting for the Bengals this week. It's another quarterback injury, and that just has to be hard. That just has to be hard, especially when you trade mid-season for somebody and now they hurt. Mm-hmm. But I think before, just real quick, because I hate to get off tangent with the game since we're about to start. I'm heavily concerned about, at some point, then you do have to look at what are you putting into your line, because we're talking about guys, from a non-mobile standpoint. Let's keep our first Joe out of it, right? Because we know he got a little pocket. He can move around a little bit. He got a little pocket mobility. He's not a stand back there type guy. And even then he was struggling. But these last two are more of your stand in the pocket guys. And they're getting hurt. Well, or scared or just throwing everywhere, right? I know there's quote unquote a benching of Browning, but we don't really know if that's because of the line. Because to a certain extent, they have kept him there. And since he's been there, there has never been a great line there. Mm-hmm. So, and we now, things that people complain about are things that actually help us look at these teams better. If you think about the old way the league was with free agency and the ability to move around, a team was a team and a player was there. That was it, right? You may change teams twice in your career, and that's about it if you're lucky, right? But now with the way we see the movement around of players and things of that nature, I always say it, show me a team where a quarterback is playing well and the team is winning and very competitive deep in the playoffs with a bad line. You can't find me one.
Oh, maybe Kansas City.
Kansas City line ain't been good in years.
Okay.
The dude was jumping. Dude jumping off sides, off the line.
But what's the difference there?
Play calling and quarterback.
Okay.
Play calling and quarterback. One thing Andy Reid gonna do with a bad line is he gonna get that ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, and then when the play breaks down, you got a good enough quarterback that's gonna improvise. But you have a great play caller and a great quarterback, so they overcome it. I'm just saying I wasn't disagreeing with you. I just said there's one.
There's always an exception to every rule, and as a lawyer, I'm telling you, there's always an exception to every rule.
One. Yeah.
And he's sneaky with the little run game. He'll stick you in a run game. Oh, okay, our run game sucks. He's still gonna try to get some yardage out of that.
I'm gonna back you up a little further than that, though. He always keeps a speedster too on their receiver core, because how did the team look when the speedsters were out?
They don't look that hard. They're not too intimidating. Okay. They're not too, but that's because they don't have a great run game, so they run through the short pass. But yeah, I agree 100%. So we talk about this all the time.
All the time. That's why I'm laughing. Like, it's like this is, football 101, and we didn't spend a whole lot of time being homers tonight about our team. So we'll say that when we talk about the game, but that's pretty much, last week when your line play, everybody looked brand new.
Your quarterback looked pretty good, don't he?
And then the quarterback, and it also happens when your quarterback starts climbing the pocket instead of going back
drifting.
So we'll move to that when we get to the game. So we're gonna start with our first matchup, and I'm gonna give it a little shake up. We got the Cowboys this week. I know they coming off a rough loss. I said on the show they needed to stick with me because I was picking them, but I didn't pick you in the app. I just picked you on the show. It just is what it is. And here's the thing about it, it was one of those situations where it's like, when a girl has a boyfriend that just does stupid stuff,
Okay, here we
and
go.
and you trying to ride with him in public
because he eats candy corn.
like eats candy corn, or he's a Leo, and then when you get home, you just have to go ahead and be like, dog, that wasn't gonna work. You eating wax out here in public, your mama gave birth in the wrong month, like all these things. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand how all these people keep putting together this defense in Dallas and believe that that's going to carry them far.
No.
Because they got Dak. That's why that's what they think.
But Dak has never been the problem. Dak hasn't been the problem. We can go back.
No, he hasn't. But what I'm saying is, they thinking they can go on. I mean, they literally went into Denver in a gunfight with a butter knife, and they still thought they was going to win the game.
Who is they?
Cowboys
Fans. Cowboys fans.
That's what he's talking about. They supposed to. They supposed to.
I mean,
they're supposed to support. Didn't I say a
supposed
couple
to.
of weeks ago, I'm going to pick my
Yes.
team?
You did say that. You did.
They supposed to.
So I'm not expecting them not to pick their team. When I say, how can they think this will work? I'm really saying in the building in Arlington, right? Or they really in Frisco area. But I can't understand the whole concept. Yes, Michael, I said your mama gave birth in the wrong month. You a Leo, that's what happened. Your mama gave birth in the wrong month. Figure it out. She had you late or had you early, whichever one.
Cold bar. That bar was cold.
But
he walked right into it.
He was crazy. He laughing at it. So I'm hoping is he a Leo? Mike, you a Leo?
I wouldn't know because I wouldn't know.
I'm gonna assume not.
I'm assume not too. I don't usually see him on the Leo post, so I don't think he is.
He laughs at it, so I'm gonna assume not.
Well, meanwhile, like I said, the Cowboys should get the quote unquote Coach B Pat feel good medicine. They got the Cardinals at home. Hopefully they can recover. They're not in the mile high and lost in the sauce. So, Coach.
Is Kyler Murray coming back? Because he's almost undefeated in that building. I mean, I seen him in high school, Lord. But I'm going down a tangent.
Especially it's a nightmare for me, but thanks.
I'm just saying. Right. I mean, did I lie?
You trying to say it's the house that Kyler built?
It's the house. Hey, it's the house that Kyler. He didn't rent that mug. He went and took the
He had a permanent locker. He had a permanent locker.
Hey, if they had a Cowboy Stadium Hall of Fame, he would be in it. Anyways, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys on there. It's gonna be, I believe they got their butts whooped. Let's call it what it is. They got their butts whooped, and I think the Cardinals just something about ever since. Something about the Cardinals I don't like. Maybe it's the coach that treated his player like he was a high school player or whatever. But
I hate that phrase too. Let's just say disrespectful, because you shouldn't even speak.
No, you're right.
Player like that.
Correct. Disrespectful.
They need correction, but not that.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys at home.
Yeah, we ain't got to spend too much time on this. We all got the Cowboys on this one. I don't feel good medicine. There you go. They get back right this week.
Yeah, they do. Now look, this game, because we don't know. We assume it's JJ. I have it on the list. The Lions versus the Vikings. The Lions at home. I'm still rolling with the Lions. It really don't matter to me who's under center. It's not a matter of what they choose to do. Wishing Wentz the best, of course, but we're assuming it's JJ and not the third string who's going to move up to second string. But I just think right now the Lions are clicking on all cylinders go. It's good to see for them. Hopefully, it keeps their momentum up. They're not in a a heavy injury, fiery storm right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them whoop it up. D Jones.
Lions. Yeah. I mean, the only
That's
thing
what I'm
that's
saying. Like these matchups ain't hard this week. It ain't really.
yeah, I don't even have anything great to say. Division game should
Ooh.
make it a little bit closer, but the Lions are come on, man. That offense is too
What
crazy.
what y'all two said?
Like repeat it.
Okay,
Ditto.
just repeat it.
Run it back.
Ditto.
Run it
All
back.
right. Well. We're gonna move on to the H Town. H Town is at home again. It is our game against Denver, and we've been taking shots negatively, not alcohol wise, since the win on Sunday from the Bay Area writers saying that basically we lucked our way into this win with their team limping into Houston, but they were conveniently speaking of themselves in such a different manner while they've had Mr. Jones under center, who, hey, he did what he could do, but it wasn't his turn on Sunday. The guys turned it up a notch. We literally held them to a first down till almost toward the end of the second quarter. They didn't even have one first down. And that's why I had to put the defense back up. It's like the defense just keeps taking it a notch up, right? And hey, what's good for the what is it? What's that saying?
That's
Good
good
for
for the
the
goose. It's good for the gander.
hey. So you take your warriors as they show up. You showed up on our doorstep, and we do what we got to do. Um, I think this week same thing. So if you want to go ahead and pre-write your story, well, you only did that because Sertan was out. I don't care who what reason is. We just need to go in the W column. At the end of the day, there are 3 columns: win, loss, and tie. Okay, that's it. It's not you won injured, you won 100% strength. We don't care. We don't care. So I'm going with the Texans mainly because I kind of hate this about what I'm about to say, but it just is what it is. Sometimes when you win like that, it gives you the courage to be able to go out and win again. And I feel like there was a different side of courage this time. And I mean that in the sense that it's like, oh shoot, I got a ton of weapons. Oh shoot, I can throw the ball at anybody. And then you got the OC out there saying, oh shoot, I can call more run plays. Oh shoot, I can stop just depending on one running back. Oh shoot, I'm the quarterback. I can step up in the pocket. Oh shoot, let me stop. I'm going with the Texans, Coach.
There's no way in the world I'm going for Bo Nix, and I'm going with my home team. I'm going to the Texans simply because you hit everything up there. I just think the confidence is going up, and now you see you're 3-3, or no, I mean 3-4. You
Yeah.
got a chance to go 4-4 and to move up and try to move up in the standings. D Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, and not just being a homer, but this team is different when the play calling is different. This team is different when they play to their strengths on offense. And I'll take what you said, T, and take it another step. I agree with you about the confidence and the courage, but I think what we lose track of, even as local Houston fans or media, is this team is a young team coming into this league. And when I say young team, I'm talking offense. Your offensive coordinator is his first time play calling. We still have young players. We asking a lot from our young receivers, which we talked about last week, and what they could do this week, and they showed what they can do. I think even our line, we've revamped the line. People talk about the line. It's not the same line. If you look at last year, I had a conversation with a guy yesterday. You look at last year, CJ got into a bad habit of drifting back because where the pressure was coming was in the middle of the line. Now he's not getting that pressure in the middle of the line. Most of the pressure he's either running into on the outside or he's drifting back into. If you look at that Seattle game last Monday, he did that early, almost got that safety. He made that correction later in that game, and that's why the offense looked different in the second half. If you look at this game, he didn't do it at all. He didn't do it at all this game. He moved up into the pocket. He ran when he needed to run. He hit players when he's very accurate when he has time in a clean pocket. So they have to just continue to do that. I hate that we're not going to see the Surtain Sting matchup, even though they're not on the field at the same time. But the two of the best corners in the league, I hate that we're going to miss that. But I'm glad he's not going to play if he's not going to play. So with that said, hopefully Nico be back. Nico was back at practice today, looking like regular old Nico. So hopefully we get him back. And yeah, I think they can continue to build on what they've done. And I think seeing it be successful instills that confidence that we just talked about, right? And then once you see it go through and you see what's happening, then you keep building on that. So yeah, I think they keep building. It's going to be a tough game. Much respect to Bo Nix and Denver, those guys. And Sean Payton he's an excellent coach. He's going to have them prepared. But I'll ride with my D'Amico any day of the week and go with the Texans.
I got one more thing. You talked about the defense earlier in the confidence. Is even though they were one of the top or the top defense in the league, they got even more confidence because the pass rush was even more lethal than it had been in the last 2 or 3 weeks. You had Anderson, you had Hunter at least going to the quarterback. They were almost in Mac Jones' lap almost 90% of the time that he dropped back. So the defensive line has more confidence as well, on top of the confidence they already have been having.
When the offense is controlling the ball the way that they did Sunday, the defense stays fresh. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and that would go to our viewers' comment that he's obviously saying that he feels like Denver will win heavily, at least a two score victory, and I can see that. I can see why people are picking Denver. It's not like you're picking blindly or with any type of hatred. You're picking on skill set. But I think that's because you haven't seen enough consistency in the offensive playing style of the Texans. And I believe that was very strategic. It lasted longer than they expected, but I believe it was very strategic to actually call more plays to stretch the offense a little bit. And so I want to go back to just one more comment to something that Derek mentioned, that confidence helps with the offensive line. And you said the pocket, and then of course, it doesn't even have to be perfect. I think knowing that you have an opportunity to see the field and get the ball out is enough confidence. I think before it felt like snap, pop, not snap, crackle, pop. There was just snap and pop. And so, and that pop was a sack, or you having to roll back because they was coming at you and you dang near sacked yourself because you couldn't even get the ball out your hand to throw it away. And so, because I don't want to get into this thing where it's like you play well only when your line is perfect. You take pride, and they should take all the pride in. He was not sacked one time, but he was under pressure by 20% of the plays. And the thing is, if you only got to be under pressure 20%, sometimes you can adjust. And the adjust was take your check down. I mean, you could hear it in the commentary. I don't know when you watched it, because you're good for watching without sound, but I don't know if when you rewatch it with the sound, if you were listening to, they noticed that, okay, he taking the check downs. And I think overall, when you studied him pretty much this season, he wasn't taking the check down. So you knew you were going to bait him into a turnover or a sack, because he just would not take the check down. But we took a lot of 3-yard check downs that had yak, or that was just good enough to get us back going. It's better than negative 3.
Yeah, it keeps on schedule.
The announcers kept talking about being on schedule. Even when it was 3rd and 7, they scored the touchdown on that 3rd and 7. CJ had pressure up the middle. He was able to throw the ball around and hit Hutch for the touchdown.
Money.
So that goes back to the rhythm that he was having. Okay, I see the pressure coming, or I see that it's okay. We haven't had that much pressure, or we had pressure inside or outside from that. But it's confidence on that. But
I don't think you forget about either just 6 days prior, you were in Seattle with the top D line right now with the pass rush. And so I think in that sense, he knows what it looks like. You just saw it 2 weeks ago. So another good pass rush coming in shouldn't burden you as much. So yeah, you slow it down, you keep your defense fresh, you at home, let's juice up their little momentum a little bit. So that's my take. Oville, our viewers, saying the wide receivers are playing with more confidence. I think they're also getting more opportunity. So it's not just the confidence, they're getting more opportunity. Hutch is becoming what D Jones has been saying he could be.
I thought it was going to be last year.
Yeah. Wait, I mean,
it's a little delayed, not denied.
So y'all know, like, and so for our viewers, if you're non-Texans fans, you don't know this, but this is be a fun thing for you to Google. We have these blocks of how we look as a team. Like, they joke about the Eagles being the Alabama and Georgia connect, Alabama on one side of the ball and Georgia on the other. We used to be always looked at as like Clemson on the offensive side of the ball. We did have some Clemson mixed in on the defense. Shout out to DJ Reader. I know he's with the Lions now, but still some love. But my point in that is we seem to have this thing right now with our state receivers. And so, people may forget Hutch 3.
You got 3.
And they always hitting on Sunday. So, I do think they need to clean up a little bit more in the red zone so we could take a few less field goals and get a few more touchdowns. And but I think that comes with consistency and time. But yeah. So moving into our game of the week, it's a short week for the Chiefs that just got done on Monday Night Football. Of course, they beat a Daniels-less Commanders. There was some great tight end play going on, and we saw Rice get back in rhythm and looking like his normal self out there, and basically just being a plethora of options for Mahomes. But this week is the matchup that seems to be the rivalry game of two teams that are not in the same division. It's the Bills and the Chiefs. And I don't really think this game is going to have that slant like, okay, this is our preview. Right now, it's turned into Buffalo finds a way to beat them in the regular season, can't seem to beat them in the playoffs. I know they had some feel-good medicine with the Panthers this past Sunday. And for me, I believe it will be harder for them to beat the Chiefs right now because they're on a little roll. I don't know secondary-wise if they're ready for Mahomes' offense. I think that's the part that leans me away from picking them. But I really don't have a pick yet. D. Jones?
Man, you tripping. But you tripping.
Well, thank you.
She gonna switch in the app anyway.
I mean, she could switch it in the app, but how you gonna be on the show and not give us somebody? It's Wednesday. You got to give us somebody. But okay, your name is your name up there, so it's all good. Hey, so I'm looking at the schedule again. I'm looking at this list of games. How in the world is this not Sunday night or Monday night? How is this? This got to be one of them CBS. CBS must have had an option on this because I think the game is on CBS and it's their game of the week, probably at 3:00. But I'm like, how with this lineup is this game not in prime time?
And they put the Cowboys Cardinals.
So I'm going to give you this. It goes back to partly what coach said, which was Kyler would have been going home. He's played well there. They matched up well against them
Okay.
in Dallas. So
And
that would have
give the
been your
Cardinals a Monday night game. But
So that would have been your Monday night game.
Dallas is always okay, but you had
But
two options.
so hold on. So now I'm gonna move you to the next one.
Okay.
With Sunday night, Jaden, if he was healthy, that would have been a matchup to look forward to with
Over
Seattle.
Chiefs Bills? Over
Well,
Chiefs
because
Bills?
because I think it's more regional. I don't think it has reached the magnitude of like you could always put the Giants and the Cowboys on Sunday night football, regardless of who on the team.
Yeah, that's different though.
I don't think it's there yet.
That's New York, Dallas. That's rivalry. That's history. I'm with that. Seattle
your two
Commanders.
top quarterbacks. Your two top quarterbacks. But
Well, then we'll go with you. We'll say CBS said no. We keeping our game. We're not giving it to Sunday night.
Maybe they had first option on this because they was like, nah. They looked at it. But okay, I'm going with the home team. I'm going with the Bills. This is going to be a great game. These guys always kind of go at it. I'm with you. I don't know if the Bills defense, if they secondary is going to be good enough, but I think they front line and they front seven will be good enough to slow them down. It still baffles me how Kelsey gets uncovered and free, and I still
we
don't
talked about the coach scheming up for his offense.
Yeah.
No, it's 80% of the time Mahomes is under deep pressure, and I'm assuming that it's usually
Yeah, that's
because
true.
they're leaving him. That's who they abandon.
Well,
but why do everybody keep abandoning
him. Now that was one play. I give him all the credit. He was in blocking, and there was no route for him. He was in blocking, and he saw him under duress and just popped out.
And his lineman was holding.
Okay. But Kelsey just popped out. And so I give him all the credit for that. But how he ends up, running free down the seams and across the middle sometime and he's wide open, I'm like, how? But so I digress. I'm gonna go with the home team. I said enough. Coach, you got it.
I'm gonna go with the Bills field goal game. We haven't had one of them. Those I just feel like whoever has the ball last is going to win. And I feel like the Bills are going to have the last one to win because it's nip and tuck back and forth. Buffalo is on a high from the blowout. Kansas City is starting to peak up a little bit more now that they got Rice back and Mahomes has all his weapons. I trust the Bills. Like D. Jones kind of stole my thunder when he said the front seven, because I'm like you. I don't know about the secondaries on either team, but I'm gonna go with the Bills just because they're at home and they'll be the in a baseball term have the last at bat.
They might. It's not baseball. They ain't guaranteed, but you're right. The last team with the ball may win.
I'll tell you what. It was really because these teams are both wild card teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking about which one I want to lose more.
She want Kansas City to lose more.
So in reference, I would want Kansas City to lose more.
Told you.
That's just my take.
Fair enough.
So that's part of the take. So I don't really feel like it's a Bills winning. I feel like I just want one to lose more. And so that's why I'm kind of stuck.
I wish they both could lose, but somebody got to win.
No, nobody got to win.
They could tie. They could tie. Yeah. Going to overtime. Everybody get a shot. 10 minutes. Pop. Cowboys 40-40.
Right. This is almost time to get out of here. I will pick today the Bills because they're at home. There's a little more edge at home. We won't have Scary Terry having to wait for replay to get credit for his for his wonderful catches with the
That
perfect
was
miss. That
terrible.
was
Yeah,
beautiful. I mean, it was
honorable.
clear to me from the TV screen
That's
that was
one
a
we
catch.
missed. Honorable mention. Yeah, Scary Terry with both of those catches was.
Ooh, he was giving the replay.
But for sure. But no shade to the ref. I probably would have called it the same way. So that was
Yeah, and
replay to its
I
finest.
like the new system too, because the system was able to pick up that
The
it was
replay
already
assist.
a catch. They didn't even have to the replay assist.
Didn't have to challenge it. Yeah.
Hey, these are the things you need to support AI for. But to
Yeah.
keep them with the theme of PV, we just had a wonderful homecoming. I know it rained, but one thing about rain, it don't stop the show. Maybe a few people that slowed themselves down, but the show must go on, and it did in full fashion. So I want to give a shout out to the homecoming win by the football team, the alumni staff for what they put together, all those different things. And then I want to throw a plug to myself. I'll be at Quotes in Willowbrook Malls, the restaurant here in Houston tomorrow. I will be a guest on the coaches show for our head football coach at Prairie View. We got a big matchup this weekend against Alabama State. If you haven't checked out his video, if you are a federal employee affected by the shutdown, he is buying your ticket to the game. He's I think it's up to, is it 200 or 100? Don't quote me on his number, but it's on his video. He basically will buy your ticket if you show up with your federal ID, showing you're a federal employee and want to go to the game. We pretty much are still in the hunt. We're as far as being able to host. Yes, we have to win the rest of our games in general, but every game counts, and this is our biggest matchup left on the schedule thus far. So it's not that we're taking any opponent lightly, but you deal with who you deal with, and you go with who's in front of you.
Yeah.
And right now, they are in front of us. So they play at home, but I'll be a co-host on the show at 7:00 live at Quotes. So if you're in Houston, this matchup on Thursday night is very, very, very weak. It's the Ravens versus the Dolphins. You can definitely skip it and come out or catch it on the screen while we talk college ball. So I'm looking for your support. And that's my plug on that. Coach. You can't even tell us where to find you. You gotta take a deep breath.
No, he wasn't ready.
Oh,
Oh,
no, I wasn't ready. Oh, okay. All right.
okay.
Now
I'm
you can
sorry.
find me on Twitter, and the app formerly known as Twitter, now X, and Instagram is Coach P Pat. And you can also catch me on TikTok, Coach Dots B Pat, because they wouldn't let me put the B Pat on in there because somebody
That's
stole
because
my name.
somebody else already be fed.
Stole my name.
Somebody
Stole my
stole
name. But I should do what
They stole it.
stole my name, but it's all good. It's all good. D Jones.
This boy.
Boy, get somewhere. Get somewhere and sit down.
You can find me on X or TikTok at That Boy D Jones, and on Instagram That Boy D Jones.
Oh, okay. We got these dots working. Let me tell you who got no dots. No dots.
I shouldn't even put your
straight up. The Gransberry. It is what it is. I ain't really about that Twitter life or X life because I'm not for various reasons. I'm gonna say what I got to say on my Facebook page, so you could just come follow. I might not add you, but you can always follow. Okay, there's a difference.
Especially Leos.
Just stay out the DMs.
What's your sign?
Start
the
with
only
that.
time. Look, the only time when you might tell your sign that you might get X'd out from the jump. Normally, people use sign as a conversation piece. I wouldn't even have no conversation. It'd just be like,
It's
"Oh, you a Leo? You a Leo? But loser? Oh, and goodbye."